Our first speaker for today shall be in person of Dr. Shaista Misha. I'm sorry, I hope I have not murdered that name, please.
Hi, a very good evening to everybody who is present here. I am Shaista Masih and I'm living in Saudi Arabia, but I'm an Indian. I'm living here since last 12 years. My research is in the history of Black women and the works of them. So today I'm going to talk about notable Black women in the history of who made a difference in Black history. So first of all, a very happy International Women's Day, who is everybody present here. I'm glad to be a part of this Talk Inspire series. And I feel that when we talk about women inspiration, Black women should come first. We should start the conversation with Black women. Please allow me to share my screen so that I can start my presentation.
Please go ahead.
Oprah Winfrey said that I'm here, I am because of the bridges I crossed. Sojourner Truth was a bridge, Harriet Tubman was a bridge, Ida B. Wells was a bridge, Madam C.J. Walker was a bridge, Fannie Lou Hamer was a bridge. Black women should be taught with their history, with the history of slavery mainly, because that is an indispensable part of their psyche, of their life, and uh, they are because of the history, because they created the history, and uh, Black women were a major part of the changes that was brought from the times of slavery to the time of civil rights and the changes that were brought by civil rights movement. So I will start with the slavery. Slavery in America started in the second decade of 17th century, but it was well established in the first half. From 1641, states of America started legalizing slavery, and by the beginning of 18th century, it was established as an institution. The business of tobacco, sugarcane, and rice was booming in America, and so was the business of slavery. Slaves from America, they were brought from Africa, and they were not treated as humans but as animals, because the slave traders, they thought they had no family and no social affiliations. Black men and Black women both were maltreated in slavery, but the burden of it was greater on women than rather than their male counterparts, because they were many times more subjugated than men. Because in the plantation field, they were exploited, they were abused by the male overseers, by the masters. In the mistress's house, where they were working as domestic labor, they were abused by their mistresses, and in the house when they were working as in their own feminine role, the Black men were not ready to shoulder the responsibility. The slavery ended. Slavery was abolished through Amendment 13 proposed by Congress on January 31st, 1865, and it was ratified on December 6, 1865. But did it change the condition of Black women? After it was tried to be it was tried to put an end. Reconstruction period came, but Reconstruction failed miserably. It wanted to reconstruct the socio-economic life of Blacks in America, but it failed because 1870s witnessed the opposition of Black and white equality. The racism, the discrimination had gone so deep in the psyche of white people that they were not ready to give equal status to whites. And in post-Reconstruction time, saw segregation, discrimination, and riots. Segregation was allowed even in the public places and even in public transport and drinking water places. In 1883, Supreme Court ruled 1875 Civil Rights Act as unconstitutional. This opened the floodgate of murder, stealing, raping, and lynching. Now we come to notable notable Black women. Sorry, I skipped civil rights movement. The civil rights movement that started in 1955 achieved its target to secure a safe and respectable position of Black in American society to an extent. Civil Rights Acts of 1964 ended Jim Crow law. It was mainly a segregation and disenfranchisement law. On November 13, 1956, the US Supreme Court upheld the federal court's ruling declaring segregation on buses unconstitutional. So civil rights movement gave Black people a birth of hope that one day maybe the Black people will have a equal, respectable place in American society. If we talk about, there's a whole galaxy of notable Black women who made a difference in history. I have picked up a few, picked up whose names are written in history with golden letters. Although all of them toiled hard and all of them worked hard to achieve to achieve a free state for themselves, for their community as well. So from 1619 to second half of the 20th century was a journey for Black people that was backbreaking. So men and women equally toiled in the efforts to get equal rights. But in this journey, there was a lot of Black women without whom it was not possible to attain a status that Black people have today. I will start with Harriet Tubman. The secret transportation of slave that was known as Underground Railroad, it provided thousands of slaves a boon of freedom. Harriet Tubman was a fugitive slave who learned about it and got associated. In 1850, she helped her first slave to escape. In September 1850, Tubman was made the official conductor of the Underground Railroad. She knew all the routes and strategies to flee the South to freedom. Kate Larson reports that Harriet Tubman helped escaping 70 slaves through UGRR. Rosa Parks. The civil rights movement was triggered off by a small incident that took place on 1st December 1955. Rosa Parks was a seamstress and an AACP member, and AACP is National Association of the Advancement of Colored People. A white man came and he asked Rosa Parks and three other Black people who were sitting there to vacate the front rows and go to the back. So the three Black people who were sitting there, they complied and they went back. But Rosa Parks, she refused. So, and she was arrested. In response to her arrest, a huge bus boycott was launched in which all Black people, they refused to use bus service of the town. The boycott became so much success that on November 13, 1956, Supreme Court upheld the federal court's ruling declaring that the segregation of bus as unconstitutional. So the bus was desegregated on 21st December 1956. Ida Wells was born Ida Wells was born into slavery during the Civil War. She was an educated Black woman who published many researches by her investigation on the condition of Black people in contemporary society. For example, she published her report on an 1892 lynching of a Black man. The report caused rage in white society. She was founder of the National Association of the Colored Women's Club, which was created to address issues dealing with civil rights and women's suffrage. She was also one of the founders of NAACP. She will travel from one place to another and she was shedding light on the lynching of Black people to the foreign audience. She wanted the world to know that what Black were going through, what they were struggling to get an equal place in American society. Sojourner Truth was a Black woman and one of the first feminists to draw attention to the plight of Black women. In 1850, in the Women's Rights Convention, she opened her breast to prove that she was a woman. It was inconceivable for a white woman to show her body to a huge audience. But since she wanted to show that, yes, she had an equal feelings, emotion, body of a woman, she said that, look at me, look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much as any man when I could get it and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 5 children. I have seen them all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with a mother's grief, none but Jesus could hear her. And she said, ain't I a woman? That was in the Women Rights Convention of 1850. So we see that in this way, she asked how a white, educated, middle class woman's experience could never be similar to experience of a woman who had suffered tortures, experienced mental traumas, rape, beatings, and who had sorry, plowed, planted, and born children like a breeding hog. She actually shed a light on the condition of women during slavery and even after slavery. Fannie Lou Hamer was the most important civil rights and voting rights activist in America. She had seen blacks struggle herself because at the age of 6, she was picking cotton in the plantation field. She even had to leave her studies to work in the plantation. In 1961, a white doctor in a surgery to remove her uterine tumor did her hysterectomy. She removed her uterus. It was an undergoing operation to curb black population. So see how uh, in what way, in a whole organized way, white people were kind of, not all, I'm not
Just
trying to
five
give a
minutes
blanket
more.
statement, to curb the black population. So that episode became a turning point in Hamer's life. In 1962, she became a member of organizer of student nonviolent coordinating committee. So in 1963, she was badly beaten after a voter registration program because she was sitting in a white-only bus restaurant and her kidney, her eyes, and legs were damaged. But she realized that economic freedom could bring the real freedom of Black people. In 1964, she co-founded Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party that challenged local Democratic Party's effort to block Black participation. And in 1969, she launched Freedom Farm Cooperative, buying up land that Black could own and farm collectively. So with the assistance of donors, she purchased 640 acres of land and launched a Coop store, boutique, and swing enterprises. So in this way, we see that how, despite their torturesome history, how Black women, they were uh, how Black women were trying hard to achieve a good status in society.
Hello, dear. You have 3 minutes.
What we learn from Black women is that whatever society throws at you, whatever fortune throws at you, you have to deal with it. And if we want, especially the women belonging to the developing countries and underdeveloped countries, they can achieve and create a history in their own way. Thank you so much, GPLT, for giving me this opportunity to present my lecture here. I will end my talk like that.
Wow, that was a wonderful one. I think I have something to take home from there. Whatever life or the society throws at you, you have the opportunity to make the best out of it. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.